Hey, cousins. Y'all know why I'm here. Yes. Cause y'all done got in that damn comment section and done talked about everything than the actual topic of discussion. And that is okay. We're gonna get back on the topic of cyberbullying, okay? But right now, it's a breaking news. Everybody's scrambling because how we finna do this? How we finna do this, right? Some people say you can't talk ill of the dead. They dead. You gotta let it go. Well, guess what? I ain't some people. This is Wrestling Color Podcast right here on YouTube. And so YouTube doesn't feel like I'm bullying the spirits. I am going to let the spirits get inside of me and run this podcast through them. I'm just want to be the vessel. And the spirit said that I should just point out some things about Terry Bonella that got Terry Bonella where he's been or where he's at. Okay. They say death comes in threes. We lost Malcolm Jamal Warner. We lost Ozzy Osbourne. And for the Threads, it is Terry Bonella. Actually, I don't think he should have went with this group because this group was a decent group. Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ozzy Osbourne. I know everybody upset about him biting that bird's heads off back in the day, but back in the day, you were supposed to let them people do that stuff in the 60s and 70s because they was on mushrooms and there was a lot going on, and he was, coming into his own and stuff like that. And then most people know Ozzy from the Osborne TV show that is a cult classic on MTV because I just sit my ass right there and wonder how Kelly Osbourne had got a whole fucking music career when she couldn't do nothing and fucking scream and stuff, and he would say she was a wobbler. Anyway, but that's not what we're here for. So this is the threads, this is the trifecta. So we ain't probably gonna have nobody, moving on into the next lifetime for a minute. So with that being said, I'm just saying, um, he sued WCW after walking out. Okay, that helped make the company go under. Just saying. Um, he lied about George Foreman grills. Now you know George Foreman put a lot of heart and soul in them grills because I had two of them bitches, and I found a George Foreman grill down to the thrift shop. To the thrift shop, and I got it for $20. It was the extra large, and this man lied and said that he had something to do with it. Boy, bye. Well, bon voyage, I guess. Disrespecting Mick Foley, insulted the beloved legend for no reason. He went out of his way to insult Mick Foley. Why he do that for? Then he apologized decades later, going to say Mick Foley prostituted his body by taking dangerous spots and didn't have respect for himself to work out. A mess. All that working out got you what? Okay. Almost missed WrestleMania 9. He had a mysterious black eye, and don't nobody know what happened. But a deeper look at the story claimed that management was unsure of how Hogan even showed up after he suffered a facial injury. Somebody bust him in his shit, and don't nobody know what happened. But they said Randy Savage had bust his shit. Give a round of applause for Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah! Snap into a Slim Jim. See, that's why I fucks with Randy. That's why I fucks with Randy. I always fuck with Randy. Brooke Holden, Brooke Holden had to distance herself. Y'all know I had to get it on with the girls. Brooke Hogan is the catalyst for the infamous if you gonna fuck a nigga, make sure it's a big, tall, long dick nigga that got a lot of money, cause I don't want my delicate white flower fucking no niggas. Yeah. That got caught on tape while he was down to the hotel fucking his best friend Bubba Love Sponge, no, his wife, cause Bubba was a cuckold. Yeah, all of that happened. Now he ended up suing that news thing, that newsletter where we had got all that information, and he got a big lump sum, but it was already too late. It was already too late. Brooke said, "Listen, I can't fool with y'all, cause on top of him and the mother and the brother a killer." She was like, "Child, let me go over here and have me some kids and be left the fuck alone. Thank you." disrespecting TNA while gaining power. He was blamed for causing another company's downfall. He went over TNA and ran wild, brothers, lying about Metallica recruiting him. Metallica artists denied what Hulk Hogan was talking about. Metallica said, "Child, we don't know what they talking about. We sang Into the Sandman, and it didn't have nothing to do with no goddamn Hulk Hogan." Lars Ulrich and James Hetfield, they each was like, "Don't come over here with that bullshit no more. We got better things to do." Then he was lying about the Undertaker injuring him with the tombstone. The Undertaker said, "I ain't even put that motherfucker on his top like I wanted to." You understand? That's what Mark said. Mark said, "Look, I got that dude so high up, he was damn near giving me a blowjob. And then I landed on my knees real delicate, and this motherfucker gonna grab his back. Like, what is you talking about?" And to this day, when I saw him, he was like, my back. Child, please. Messy public divorce with longtime Linda Hogan. Both look terrible, dragging each other through the mud. Linda out here looking like scrambled eggs over easy. Okay, and I know she gonna take the opportunity to really lay it on thick now that he done kicked the bucket. But they was like, Linda said he been cheating on me and doing me every which way but loose. He won't give me no money. I don't know what to do with myself. Mind you, they had a whole TV show called Hogan Knows Best, and she was having a good time watching him salivate incestuously over his daughter. But that's another different thing. Linda also was fucking Brooks' high school friend. Okay, we'll talk about Linda when it's time for Linda's number to get called. Contract demands forcing sudden end to Mr. America. WWE found a unique way to fire Hogan after tense negotiations. They fired him, and Mr. America changed, and so Hogan started to make more demands upon being unhappy with his payoff, and Hogan refused to appear and make a better deal, and so Vince was like, "Well, bitch, I made you, and I could make another one," and that's basically how that ended. And he had a racist tirade against the biggest public strike against him, and we caught that all on tape, child. The infamous sex tape was leaked. Okay, and he only said my bad because he got caught. Meanwhile, he was having this conversation like this for years. For years. Yeah. Randy Savage felt Hogan played a role in his divorce with Queen Elizabeth. Listen, we already know what it was like. And you know what? I always roll with Randy Savage when he said Hulk Hogan was doing a little bit too much with his bitch. He said, "I am not down for that. Me and Miss Elizabeth, we've been working together and doing what the best we gotta do." Yeah, I might have put her between the tub and the toilet a couple times, but that ain't got nothing to do with you, motherfucker. Ain't nobody asked you to lay up with my goddamn woman, and that was a whole storyline, a whole mess. He also admitted to using steroids during the big steroid trial. Then he got on the stand and was like, "I ain't use no steroids." And Vince McMahon was like, "Thank you." Apparently, this was for Vince start rubbing dookie and naming dildos after his favorite wrestler. Did he have a dildo named after Terry Bonella? No, but he did have one named after Bobby Lashley, a big black one. They said. Refusing to lose to great wrestlers by flexing his power. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were offended by Hogan's respect, and Bret Michaels, and this is why we fucks with Bret. Even though back in the day he was on coke and he was high as fuck and he was getting beat up down to the bars and he probably was slanging a lot of racial slurs, but he went to church and he repented and he been on the right track ever since then. And he down there helping them kids in NXT the way they supposed to be helped. What did Bret Michaels do? Shawn Michaels, excuse me, what he did the infamous overselling down to their Mania match, and I love it. Let's give a round of applause, please. Yes, he did. He was like, "You want to try to play me? I'm going to play you real good." I love it. Hulk Hogan had power like none other wrestler in the industry and seemed to take pride in using it. Multiple fan favorite wrestlers had horror stories of Hogan, refusing to put them over. But two stood above all. Bret still hates Hogan for refusing to drop the WWE Championship to him in 1993. And he still hates Goldberg for taking his neck. And Shawn Michaels said the same thing years later as the legend by having Hulk back out of the original agreement to lose a match to him. Very public fallout with longtime best friend Brutus the Barber Beefcake. he started insulting him. Hogan long friendship with Brutus Beefcake helped Beefcake get major contracts. Falling out came in 2010s with stories about Hogan cutting Beefcake out of his life, and WWE made them make peace when Hogan inducted Beefcake into the Hall of Fame. But all of that, Beefcake was going in talking about how he was treating him any which way and talking down to him, making him feel like shit. Faking presidential campaign for publicity stunt. Hogan trying to make fans buy into a ridiculous storyline. Nobody liked it, but he had the opportunity to get in front of the world and say, vote for this guy, so we gonna have these Republicans run wild on you, and they running wild on us with the big beautiful bill that you will be feeling in the next 2 years. Okay? Appearing at a real presidential campaign with the controversial comments. Oh yeah, yeah. Hogan went way too far when he started body shaming Kamala Harris, and everybody was like, "Bitch, I know you ain't talking stand up there looking like a undercooked piece of bacon. You need to keep it to this man and keep it pushing." But no, you had to go further and further, abusing WCW contract clause to get his way every time. And all the girls was like, bitch, we can't take it no more. WCW giving Hulk Hogan creative control clause ended up being a major mistake. Hogan changed plans to WCW's biggest match, ruined the easy finish fans wanted. Hulk Hogan walked out of WCW in 2000 after not getting his way with Vince Russo. I wonder what Vince Russo gonna say this time. He gonna say he was a good man. He was a good man, Savannah. He was a good man. He made me feel good in 1986. I got into wrestling because of him. I love me some Hulk Hogan. Anyway, snitching on Jesse Ventura to block his attempts to start the union. And to this day, Jesse Ventura said the same thing that the Iron Sheik said. He said, fuck Hulk Hogan, because I was trying to help everybody get where they get in where they fit in. This motherfucker went and backdoored me. We were friends for many years. And Hogan telling Vince about the what I was trying to do blocked any chance. And Ventura still demanding an apology from Hogan before speaking to him again. I don't know if he even speaking to him like that, but we probably gonna get a nice little tweet. We're gonna get a nice little tweet from Ventura because he's a upstanding guy, right? Getting sued over his son Nick's car accident, injuring friend for life. Yeah, and then he still backed up that weird ass boy who don't got no life, was babied, breastfed, and then killed these people and tried to ride the wave of his sister. That boy ain't never got it together, child. Many critics blame Hogan's parenting for Nick's tragic moment of reckless driving. Nick's Finn's family had fallen out with Hogan that led to lawsuits. They settled, and Hawk showed little respect for the victim when trying to blame him for the injury. Yeah, your son was driving, but somehow it's the victim's fault. Yeah, for getting in the car. For getting in the car, that's the victim's fault. The most celebrated and egregious infraction that Terry Bonella Hulk Hogan did was he damn near killed Munch. Did you forget? Because I ain't never forgot. In 1985, Belzer hosted a show called Hot Properties that featured interviews with some of the most notable personalities in sports and cinema, including B.B. King, Leonard Cohen, Little Richard, among others. Two of his guests were Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. Mr. T will always have a place in my heart. Anyway, they was promoting Rocky, so that's probably what that was about. Oh well, Mr. T was also in the WrestleMania situation. So, but y'all know the one thing he was in Rocky 3 as Thunder Lips, but whatever. Ain't nobody could beat Clubber Lang. Love it, love it, love it. Rocky 3 is the best one ever. We could definitely argue about that in the comments. Anyway, two of his guests were Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, who Belzer was interviewing in advance of the two superstars match at WrestleMania 1. During the interview, Belzer asked Hulk Hogan to apply a wrestling hold on him, intended as a fun display of wrestling for the audience. Unfortunately, the hold caused Belzer to pass out and hit his head on the ground, drawing blood. Despite Hogan apologizing for the incident and warning the audience not to copy anything they see the wrestlers do, Belzer filed a $5 million lawsuit against Hogan for injury. The case was originally set to be heard in New York, but ultimately it never came to pass. Hogan and Belzer settled out of court, and at the time of the lawsuit, the amount was undisclosed. Is ultimately consequential, but it's another very public negative incident for said person. Belzer ended up settling for $400,000, which was nothing to sneeze at, in 1985. So he went on to play Munch, the beloved Munch, in Law and Order. Okay, and in the heat of the night. Like, what is you talking about? We loved Munch. How could you do that to him? And if you go watch the footage, it's not that he was verbally saying sorry. It's that he watched this man drop, bang his shit, and he didn't even go down and check on him or nothing. He was just standing up there looking like a big dumb idiot. So with all that being said, Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea has passed today. And those who have such a soft spot in his heart that are willing to dismiss all of these things, good luck to you. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. I will say this. The way you lived is the way you will be remembered. I know history has a way of doing the Norman Rockwell syndrome. Now, if you listen to the podcast, you know what Norman Rockwell syndrome is. But we're not going to do that, because if that's the case, we wouldn't be having all these issues with statues of Confederate monuments and taking down our heroes and trying to rewrite and erase history. No, we're not going to do that. Not here, Wrestling in Color. Some of y'all will be like, oh man, here she go. She virtue sickening. She got to be this. She got to be that. No, I can only be myself. Because if I left a terrible stain on the world, then damn it, it will be remembered. As they say, no one remembers all of the good things you did, but they do remember that one bad thing. And in this case, this guy has done a plethora of things. So I don't know if we're still going to see real American beer displayed in the middle of the ring on WWE television. I don't know if we're going to save Hooters, because that was his next endeavor. And I guess Bubba Love Sponge, who already told us that Hulk Hogan was down bad and couldn't speak anymore and he lost his throat. Meanwhile, Jimmy Hart's like, he's having a good time. He's doing good. Everything's great. If anything, this should tell you don't believe what you read on the internet for the most part, because the man was down bad, ended up having a cardiac arrest in his home, and here we are. So some people say he deserves the 10-bell salute because of his contribution to making pro wrestling what it is today. Okay, I'll let y'all have it. What can I sing to eulogize Mr. Terry Bollea? Fool's paradise. You better think twice, 'cause it's not very nice. Fool's paradise. You better think twice, 'cause it's not very nice. So just remember what your mama told you before she sent you on your way. What she say? She told you never, ever be too clever to not see your own mistake.